I do apologize, everyone. This video took way longer than it should have been, but I guess here it is, and I hope you enjoy. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Daredevil Born Again has officially ended, so let's do a review. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to AustinPlus Commentary, where today we are going over the events of what happened in Daredevil Born Again, or should we really call it Daredevil Season 4? Might as well. Daredevil Born Again concluded on April 15th on Disney Plus, and I thought I would do a bit of a review a bit later, so it gives people to, if they have missed it, like I used to miss it, like time to rewatch it or watch it after it's all been, so they can binge watch it. I mean, I watched every episode weekly, so it was a bit tough for me, so I had to go back and remember what was what, and basically everything. So it was a bit difficult. So I wanted to go over basically typical things that that I do in a review, such as best characters, top 5 scenes, best episodes. Now I'll tell you this now, and because I'm not going to cover it throughout the video. There was no best episodes because all of the episodes really helped out with each other. Like, I know how they say, like, a series works in a way that everything leads into something else. But that's one thing that I think did justice for this for this series, because all the episodes flowed into each other so well that they even out in like quality. The best ones, I think, were when they started to foreshadow like Kingpin's task force and all that. And also when they were sort of introduced Muse, it was like a different concept, so it definitely introduced a new and different approach to the likes of like Daredevil and Daredevil characters in general. So first off, the best characters of this show, I would say, and it goes without saying, and I know it's going to sound very, like, cliche and obvious, but Daredevil by far was the best character. You cannot deny that. I think how they, in like the very first episode when he talks to Kingpin, they actually level out the playing field with each other. They like make amends, and I think the best thing is that Daredevil and Kingpin actually made amends in this show in the very first episode, and it showed that Kingpin was actually somewhat matured, and he was more understanding to become a mayor. And I was actually rooting for him to become mayor. Don't get me wrong, it would deepen the plot, but also it kind of made sense. But also, we saw Daredevil for the first 5 minutes of the first episode, and then he didn't come back until I think episode 6. Yeah, definitely episode 6. Yeah, he didn't come back for a while, and I think that while that sounds bad, it is actually quite good because it gives Matt Murdock a time to heal, but show what he's capable of by himself. But also throughout this season, they don't directly show Daredevil, but they know that that's still in him. It is still his job to help people. But Kingpin was dead set on him not being a vigilante, so he also felt a bit like constricted or like imprisoned. He didn't feel like he was able to, or a target would become on his back. And also, you can't tell me that there wasn't a target on his back throughout this whole time when Daredevil was rumored to be back. Kingpin knew who Daredevil was, like his secret identity. So Kingpin knew what was going on, and that's when he basically went AWOL, and that's when he got pissed. And Punisher and Karen were the last two characters I want to talk about in terms of the best characters, in terms of best character development. Now, when I say the best, I'm bringing them up because they weren't really, like, they didn't get a lot of screen time, but you can really understand them from the very limited times that they were there. Punisher made an appearance, I think, in episode 4 or 3, and Karen was in the first and the last episode. We saw none of her throughout this whole season, but her, like, that time when she was away also was a sort of growth period, and you can see that has happened throughout when episode 9 comes around. By the way, that finale was absolutely amazing, and it is definitely made me excited for what's to come in the future. Now, there was a big debate in if Disney was better than Netflix, and I'm sorry to be the one to say this, but yes, Disney Plus did this show so much better than Netflix. Now, I say this with a pinch of salt, because Disney Plus wouldn't have been able to perfect it without Netflix. Let's not forget that. I say that they wouldn't be able to function without each other. I think this new Disney Plus show will probably attract people to watch the old version, because I'm gonna be honest, I've only seen bits of season 1. However, when I was watching Daredevil Born Again, I went back to watch season 1, and it really captivated me. And I even went to get comics. I was that captivated with this show. But it's all of that difference in quality, because Netflix, they had a very slow introduction, and I'm sorry, I know the whole season 1 was him in the basically the black suit type thing. I know it's gonna sound very sad, and because it's not evolving. I think the one thing that I shouldn't have done was watched it Born Again while I was watching season 1. If I was watching Born Again in season 2, which I know when he gets his actual suit, that would have been good. But you see the Daredevil suit in Daredevil Born Again. Oh, it's amazing. Absolutely wonderful. You see the one in season 1, you're like, are these the same people? Are you sure? I think still Disney Plus was better, but Netflix still is amazing. You can't actually watch Daredevil on Netflix now, but you can watch it on Disney Plus, so I guess pros and cons. But I think there's a bit of a difference there, because while Disney Plus did do it far better, it did start on Netflix, and I think what gives Disney Plus the edge is the fact that you can only watch it on Disney Plus. So, sorry, but that's just the way it is. I am very excited to say that this show did have an effect on one tiny aspect of the MCU. I thought that Daredevil would have an impact on the likes of the street level stuff, which is the stuff I really like. I mean, you have films like Captain America. That's just not street level, but there's also it's a lot to do with the military and patriotism, and that is very old Marvel. Marvel has then gone into a bigger scale, such as the multiverse and space stuff, and we got really bored of that. So I think they tried to rectify that by going back to the Patriot type stuff. But that's still not what captured the essence. I think it's also they are trying to recreate something that was magical, but you just can't. If it's good, just leave it. It's the same. That's the thing with Captain America, isn't it? But I think the big effect that this had is it has been confirmed that Spider-Man and Daredevil will actually team up. Now, it has not been confirmed if it will be in Spider-Man Brand New Day. I am hoping it is, because it would make so much sense, and I will tell you why. If Spider-Man and Daredevil team up, it's even for a brief moment in this new Spider-Man Brand New Day movie, it would make sense, because it shows what Spider-Man now is like. He is a street-level person until he is called upon in the likes of Avengers Doomsday. We all know he's going to don the symbiote suit, but that will be in Doomsday. Brand New Day should be a point in which he is a new hero, because people don't actually know Peter Parker, they only know Spider-Man. But it gives him a whole new introduction, and I do think that's a perfect way to start off this. You can maybe slightly move on to multiverse stuff. I mean, they started off Homecoming with street level, and then they moved to multiverse. So it does work. So while it is a risk, especially now, I think in 2017 they weren't willing to go as far as the multiverse. However, in 2021 they obviously were. There's a good chance that Spider-Man does team up with Daredevil, but the third movie, with whether there's going to be one, it is going to be a whole different style almost. It'll be a whole different genre, because we know probably at that point we'll be in a different phase, and apparently it's going to be all to do with space. Phase 7 or the new saga will have a lot to do with space. Secret Wars is more multiverse, but this will be more to do with space, so this is where we'll probably get Nova and Annihilus and the new Guardians of the Galaxy, or which will be established in the Secret Wars. That's why I think this team up will actually set Spider-Man up for a very good future. And I know we're talking far in the future. It still counts. Don't get me wrong, it still counts. Now, the top 5 scenes in this series I think are quite hard to choose, because you have to account for what 6-7 hours worth of content. So you kind of have to think about it in a very harsh way, I guess. But the most I can say is that any scene that all the scenes with Adam, I think the scenes with Adam, Vanessa, and Kingpin were the biggest ones. Those were the best ones, and I will tell you why. That relationship sort of functioned as a triangle. Kingpin was at the very top of this triangle. Vanessa was at the bottom corner, but Adam was at the other corner. Now, the reason I use a triangle is because all of them were linked via love and hate. For a time period, Vanessa loved Adam. That's why she cheated on Kingpin. But during a change, Vanessa hated Adam for how he made Kingpin feel, which led to obviously Vanessa being the one to kill him. This is all I think in episode 8. Yeah, that's when this whole thing ends. So, in saying that, if you flip on it and then go from the very start, Vanessa loved Adam, hated Kingpin for what he did. Kingpin loved Vanessa, but hated Adam for what he did. So it kind of works as a triangle until it then goes in a reverse triangle. But I think all scenes with Adam, Kingpin, and Vanessa were really good. And while I'm saying this, I'm kind of going to add the therapist into there, because she's very much at the core. She knew about all of this, and she was very much at the core. So here's an exemplar image of this triangle. Now, this might be a hot topic, but I definitely liked the very, 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 very beginning scene of this show. It was the saddest but most meaningful one of a part of this whole show, and it was not one of those things like you can start off a series with, oh, this was the main problem, yada yada yada, but then it got resolved, because it never got solved, and almost until the very end, because obviously Foggy's not going to come back, but it all still linked together, and I think that was absolutely amazing writing. And that's why I actually really, really liked this show, is because no matter how far in you are, I mean, we'll might as well say that the Muse stuff was a side quest. That was a side quest. That was the most confusing stuff ever. However, that guy gave me the creeps. That guy scared the crap out of me. However, the scene when he was with the therapist again. By the way, why does that therapist get involved with some of the most strangest people? I mean, Kingpin, okay, but then Vanessa, that's not couples counseling. That's just what happened, and what am I supposed to do here? But Muse was, I mean, to be fair, she didn't know he was Muse, but still, disturbing as anything. But the idea of having a psychotic artist was almost it's very street level, to the point where it's just disturbing, and disturbing content is what makes street level. And I'll bring up an example, the Penguin. There was a lot of disturbing things said, done, shown that in that show, but that is the most street level crime stuff you'll ever find, and that is why it did so well. Daredevil and the Penguin, I would say, are on the same wavelength. If I had to say who's the more fierce one in that, which is the most extreme, I would go with Penguin. But you also have to understand they don't have a studio. The Daredevil still definitely pushed the boundaries with the gore, the swearing, and also this is very new territory for the MCU, so I kind of get that. But still, so I would, as a top 3 as of now, I'm gonna say I think the scene when Daredevil comes back, to beat the living shit out of Muse was the best. I think that was the best return ever. When he came back again to save his girlfriend, it just seemed like he was trying too hard. But that, I would say, is the best scene. That was not the best scene, but it was the second best. The very best scene was the beginning, and I'm sorry if that depresses people. And the last thing I want to talk about is, I think it's quite obvious, is Season 2. So, Season 2 is set to release next March in 2026. For those who didn't know, this is actually still being filmed as, even when this video is being uploaded. This started production as Daredevil Born Again Season 1 was released. And we have a release date. It is said to release next year in March. So they are planning to be quite consistent with it. If you are talking from a logical sense, you have so many more street level characters you could reintroduce. Luke Cage, Iron Fist, bring Spider-Man. Everyone would go crazy if you had Spider-Man come back into Season 2, and then that might actually set up Brand New Day. That you have multiple avenues you could go down, and that's why I think, I know it might not seem impactful, but Daredevil Born Again is just as important as Spider-Man No Way Home. Pow. You heard it here first, folks. I said that. Yeah, sue me. I know that's going to be one of the comments that might get a few heads rolling, but yeah, I definitely think that Daredevil Born Again was just as important. Well, everyone, that is the end of today's video. I do hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe and comment what else you would like to see on the channel. And yes, I know I didn't cover any other reviews, but if you want to, you can obviously go and check them out yourself. But obviously on this thumbnail, there are some of the amazing comments that have been said about Daredevil Born Again as well. But if you haven't watched this show, go and watch it if you're old enough. Trust me, it is one of those things you need. I would wait until you're older. If you are obviously not of age. But everyone, I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye! Yeah!